Voy a encontrar. Soy así, ya es muy tarde para cambiar. Yo no espero nada, vivo sin rumbo. Solo quiero amar cada segundo. Soy aquel.
Welcome back, everybody, to the A Little Less Fear podcast. Today, I would love to welcome Lucie Ptasznik. Lucie is a national speaker, coach, and serial entrepreneur who helps people transform their identity and rewire their subconscious mind to take massive action towards their goals. She challenges entrepreneurs and business professionals to step outside of their comfort zone, to dream big, and to become the best versions of themselves mentally, physically, financially, and spiritually. With a background in quantum physics, I love this. She boldly teaches that you are the powerful creator of your own reality. Through special mind hacking tools and techniques, she teaches people the power of awareness, how to take back control of their life, and how to achieve the success they have always dreamed of having. I love this. I love the alignment. Lucie, welcome to A Little Less Fear podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I am excited and grateful to be here today.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful to connect with you as well. You're all the way in Michigan and I'm in California, and there's no connection that's a coincidence. So I'm really grateful here for this incredible energy that we're about to explore. So tell us about your journey. What led you to where you're at today, talking about the laws of the universe and obsessed with teaching people about quantum physics?
Yeah. So I believe that we're all blessed with some sort of skill, of talent, of a passion, of a purpose. And it's all about getting familiar with yourself and finding out what it is that excites you, that drives you, that makes you feel alive, in pursuing that relentlessly. Because I believe that we're not meant to settle in life. Life isn't meant to be unfair or difficult or hard. Like, it's supposed to be fun and exciting, uplifting. We're supposed to celebrate every single day because each day is a manifested miracle. So, with that being said, Napoleon Hill said that the starting point for any and all achievement is a burning desire. And when I was a little girl, I was obsessed with horses, to the point where I would beg my dad every single day, "Dad, please buy me a horse." And he never did. My parents were like blue collar workers. My mom had 2 factory jobs. Horses were just totally out of the realm of possibilities. But I never gave up on my dream. In fact, I put an ad on Craigslist. Like, the day I turned 16 was the same day I got my driver's license. And the same day I put an ad on Craigslist saying, "I will ride your horse for free." Because what I have came to learn is that if you can exploit your talents in the service of others, you will find true fulfillment and abundance on the other side of service. So that was kind of how my journey got started, with a Craigslist ad. And that's kind of what plunged me into the world of buying, training, and selling horses. I did that and I started out with like absolutely no knowledge or expertise or training. Like, I was a little girl. I grew up in the suburbs. So I didn't have.
Lucie,
Yeah.
before we continue, because I'm just fascinated by your story already. So you were 16, and just to rewind, and you're like, I mean, did you have experiences with horses before, or were you just like, this is what I'm feeling, and I'll ride your horse, and whether I've been on one or not, and I'm gonna go for it?
I had been like, Girl Scout camp where like you ride horses for a couple days. My dad had taken me on like a handful of times where we'd go and like run a horse for an hour. And I thought that since I knew how to walk, trot, canter, like a 20-year-old camp horse, that I was like, I know how to ride horses. So when I put my ad on Craigslist as like an overly confident 16-year-old with a brand new driver's license, I didn't really know what I was signing up for, but I was excited about it. So that's all that mattered. And so then
Yes.
here I am driving all over God's country to ride these horses, where these yahoos are calling me with their unbroke, green broke horses that haven't
Wow.
been ridden or
Oh,
handled in 5 to 10 years.
Oh
And
my
I'm just the
goodness.
happiest thing to crawl right up on its back. So logically, naturally, the next thing you know, I'm getting thrown off, bucked off, flipped
Right.
over on top of. I mean, like, I didn't have any formal education or instruction when it came to horses. So what I can tell you is that the horses taught me everything that I know today. And it was most certainly a failing forward moment or several moments, in fact, where it's just like, whenever you're pursuing a goal, a dream, a desire, there's going to be obstacles, there's going to be difficulties, there's going to be hardships that kind of like throw you on the ground, where the horse bucks you off, where you're going to eat dirt. And it's just like, don't give up. You have to stay laser focused on your goal. And no matter what curveball life throws at you, you just got to dust yourself off and be like, all right, I lived, I learned, and I'm going to do it better next time. And so I think if you ask any brilliant business mind or successful entrepreneur, they're going to tell you that I wasn't lucky. I just failed more times than most people were even willing to attempt to try to begin. So that's how come I became the writer that I am today, was just because I failed more than most. I got bucked off dozens and dozens and dozens of times. So
I love
that
what you
was,
said, failing forward moment. I love
yeah,
that.
yeah. Because failure is essential in any sort of success. Like if
It
you think
is.
that if you think you're just gonna start something and just blink your eyes, snap your fingers, and be subject to like perfect success, like that's never how
Yeah,
the
right.
story goes.
Yeah,
Like, you
never.
got to try and fail and learn and try again and fail and tweet. You look at Edison and how many thousands of failed
Oh my
inventions did he have to go
goodness.
through to get the
I
light
know.
bulb?
Right.
You just
I
can't give
remember
up.
like even cloning Dolly the sheep back, what was that night in the early 90s? I think they said it took like 246 tries just to even get a little sheep. Obviously, she
Yeah.
didn't make it, but I mean, there is no failure. I mean, failures are challenges to bring us to our best version of ourselves. And I mean, failure is not fatal either. I mean, I guess it can be, and even and even if it is, I mean, I don't know what to say about that in that case. But at least you're being passionate about it and excited and following your dreams and just not giving up. And so, so then you turned horseback. I'll ride your horse for free into a business.
Yeah. So I sold horses pretty much from the time I ended up meeting a horse dealer. He would get like 50 horses in. I had to ride, train, and sell everything fast, quick, cheap. Because
Wow.
if I didn't sell it fast enough, it was getting shipped to the slaughterhouses in Canada. So
Oh
here I
my
am,
goodness.
like 16-year-old girl. Now I'm on a mission to save all the horses of the world. Um, and so that's really, and that was really like my first step into the world of entrepreneurship, where it was like, the sky's the limit. How many horses do you want to ride today? Do you want to ride 3, 5, 10, 20? Let's go. Sky's the limit. So I sold horses all throughout college, high school, college. And then as soon as I graduated college, I got scooped up into the corporate world. And then I was working my corporate job where I was getting suited up and waking up at 6 o'clock to leave my house by 7, to be sitting in front of my computer in the cube by 8 a.m. And then I had to leave at like 5 or 5:30 to be back at the barn at 6:30, so that way I'd have like a 6:30 horse showing, a 7:30 horse showing. Then I'd ride the training horses until 10, get to the gym at 11, leave the gym at
Oh my
midnight,
goodness.
get home at 1, and then wake up at 6 again. So I mean, I was just burning both ends of the candle, and eventually it just came to be too much, coupled with the fact that I had the world's worst boss. I don't know if like you've ever had a job where like your boss was like absolutely miserable. Like he was the world's most negative, miserable person you could ever dream to be around. And I had just seen the movie The Secret. So I'm like trying to tell him like, Justin, you just have to like think happy thoughts. You just have to be positive. And like we would go on trips where we'd have to travel together, and he would literally list off every negative thing that could possibly go wrong while we're traveling out of state to
Oh my
go to these.
goodness.
And I'm like, you're literally drawing all of these negative circumstances
Yes,
to us. And I'm like, I'm your travel buddy, and this is not serving us. So
right.
can we like try to shift our perspective? Anyways, he wasn't having any of it. He's like, law of attractions, hocus pocus nonsense. You don't know what you're talking about, kid. And anyways, I quit my corporate job after 3 years. One of the scariest things I've ever done, leaving that comfy, cozy corporate job that had like full benefits, guaranteed check every single week. But if anybody's out there and they're struggling, battling with the idea of like, they know that they're meant for more and they have this idea and they've got this side hustle and they know that they can do it. There has not been one day since I quit my corporate job that I've regretted leaving, not one single day.
And that's
So
because you left what you obviously felt was gonna drain you, and that wasn't the path you wanted to take.
yeah, it was because it was a tier one automotive company, and I don't know anything about cars. I'm not mechanically inclined. I barely know how to put gas in my car the right way. Like, so like horses are my passion. Languages are my passion. Cars and doing like auto parts, like that was not my passion. So
So
that
how
was
did you
so
launch into your current passion?
Well, then, so horses have always been like my gig, and I've always loved self-development. So like even when I was doing hours and hours of Excel spreadsheets and I was working in the cube, I had my earphones in and I was listening to Dr. Wayne Dyer, and I'd be taking notes and I'd have like notebooks and notebooks of his wisdom. And one of the things he always said was, don't die with your music still inside of you. And so
Oh man, I love that.
that really resonated with me at a very high level at that time. And just all of his teachings are so profound and so beautiful and so intrinsically spiritual. Like it's so many great messages. And then through him, I stumbled upon Abraham Hicks, Esther Hicks and Abraham Hicks. And when I was 21, I attended an Abraham Hicks workshop.
Oh
Are you
my goodness, I've
familiar?
been wanting to go for so many years. I just can't wait to go see Abraham Hicks. It's one of my I love them. I love them.
Yes, yes, yes. So that was like game changer for me. So when I went to go see them when I was 21, that's what kicked off my meditation journey. So I had never like because they'd always said like they're like, dear humans, we love you so much, but if there's one thing that we recommend you do that you're not doing, just gift yourself 10 or 15 minutes every single morning and watch your world transform. And because I had already implemented so many of her other teachings, and that's honestly, that's why I'm so passionate about really teaching people the laws of the universe and that you are the powerful, magnificent creator of your own reality, and the
Yeah.
sky's the limit, and we don't have to settle. And that like reality is this very tangible, subjective, very malleable thing.
Yes.
And it doesn't like if you don't like something, like you have the power to change it. And just that, and I guess I've used all of her teachings, all of Dr. Wayne Dyer's teachings, just so many of those like a great philosophers, and implemented like their teachings and their philosophy directly into my business of horse sales, and then like the trail riding business that I accidentally created. Um, and everything's just kind of, I don't want to say like has been it's all just unfolded so organically and so
Mhm.
naturally just because like I followed my excitement. I listened to my intuition. I went with the flow. I lived without resistance. And it's like once you like put these things in practice, then it's like you absolutely can have the life that you desire. And that's why I'm so passionate about teaching these things to other people, because life doesn't have to be hard or difficult. Money doesn't have to be hard to make. Like there's so many like limiting beliefs that people will latch onto and then claim as their own. And it's just like once you become aware of those unconscious programs that are running your life, once you become aware of them, then you can change them, but you
Yes.
can't change what you're unaware of. So that's why I really
Right.
hit hard on the power of awareness.
I love this. You can't change what you're not aware of. And I was actually listening to Hicks on the way back today. And I love how she talks about, and this is has to do with what we're talking about as well, how when people latch onto a certain belief, a limited belief, they start to argue for their limitation. And they stay into that constant arguing, defending why they are limited, rather
Yeah.
than really going outside that box and seeing that there's a lot of resistance to that limitation, rather than dropping it, going with the flow, and allowing the energy to come to you. And so you were then able to take these laws of the universe that you learned, from the teachings of Dr. Wayne Dyer and Abraham Esther Hicks, and you were able to use this, and you're still using this with your current as a modality towards your sales and bringing you forth where you've always wanted to be, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like life is meant to be enjoyed. It's meant to be celebrated. And so many times, like people just feel stuck or depressed or defeated or just beat down by life.
Yes.
And it's really hard for some people to understand. Like they might look at somebody like me and they might be like, well, you've always had an easy life. And it's just like, but do you really know me? Or do you like, are you just assuming that because because I choose to be happy, I choose to show up? And it's just like, and I love your story in particular because it's like you overcame the impossible, and through everything, all of the suffering, all of the misery, all of the hardships, like you're like just glowing radiantly with like love and joy and
Thank
positivity.
you.
So I think that you're like the perfect poster child for this too, which I love that our
Appreciate it.
paths have crossed. Because sometimes and I understand like some people are really going through some dark, difficult
Oh yeah.
times, and it's easy to look at somebody else who like portrays this like happy lifestyle, and it's just like, oh, that's easy for you to do. And it's just like, well, you can have this too. This is accessible to you just as easily as it is to me.
Right.
You just there are systems and processes that I have implemented in my life to set me up for success, to raise my vibration, to very intentionally rewire my subconscious mind. So that way, if I do wake up and I feel full of anxiety, or I feel like just low energy, if I
Yeah, what do you
feel
do when you wake up like
overwhelmed,
that?
I have a whole toolbox of things. But I'd say that the first and foremost is meditation.
Yeah.
That's a game changer. And that meditation, the definition of meditation means to become familiar with yourself, with oneself.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times, like I said, like we all have these unconscious programs and patterns that run our life. Harvard just did a study, and it was like 75% of all of our day to day, like everything that we do in one day, is all on autopilot.
It is on
So
autopilot. Yeah.
yeah, and it's just like and again, if you keep doing what you've always done, nothing's going to change. And so many people long for change, and they have these ideas of what their life could look like or should look like, but they're not willing to do the work to change. And it's like all change starts with ourselves. And so many people want to play the blame game and
Yeah.
pull the victim card and say like, oh, well, I can't be this because so and so did this to me and I'm a victim, poor me. And it's
Yeah.
just like you're literally giving your power away every single
Oh
time you
yeah.
blame somebody else. And it's just like what's wild to me too is like once you truly understand that like all change starts with you, and that once you begin to change your inner world, then you will see the change in your outer world. And even like one step further than that is like your outer world will continue to present to you the same circumstances until you've proved that you've
Right.
learned the lesson, until you've changed your attitude, until you've changed how you respond to things. Like if you continue to show up with like negativity and respond in anger or fear or animosity, like you're just going to continue to attract those things. That's why they say your power is in the now precious moment,
Oh
because
yeah.
every single moment is a manifested miracle. And if you can be conscious enough, aware enough of the thoughts that you're thinking, the words that you're using, and the emotions that you're residing in, then you can begin to control how you're responding to external circumstances. So when that
Yes.
same circumstance shows up, instead of responding in your old unconscious patterns, breaking that pattern and responding with love, with kindness, with grace, with compassion, it's just like you've rippled into a new reality. You've up leveled your energy, and now you have access to a whole new vibrational playing field.
I love that. Breaking the pattern by responding with grace, gratitude, and love. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
And so your power is in the now. Let's talk a little bit about your power being in the now moment. Why is the now moment? Let's get a little deeper into this. Why is the now moment so precious? I understand that every moment is a manifested miracle. I understand this, but for somebody that doesn't feel that at the moment, how can we help them be present when their present moment isn't the best moments, aren't the best moments?
I think it's also granting ourselves some perspective and some understanding and really like leaning in to like there's certain beliefs that you carry. And like one of my beliefs, for example, is that things are always working out for me. Things always work out. Even when I don't know or don't understand or it doesn't feel like it, things are always working out for me. And again, that's something that, like, for example, my business has taught me. Like when I think I sold a horse and then the sale falls through and I'm like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? And like, I want to be mad or sad or upset. But then guess what? The next day or the next week, another shopper comes and instead of like, let's say I had the horse listed for 4,000 and the shopper who was going to buy it offered me 3,500 and then the sale fell through.
Yeah,
Well, now next week, another shopper comes and they offer me full price.
yeah,
And they're like, they come with cash, trailer, truck, cash, horse is gone. And it was a perfect, and it was an even better fit for the horse. So,
love it.
and then it's in all of those, just like trials that life has taught you, like when you think things aren't working out, it doesn't feel like it, but really truly understanding that like, no, things are always working out. You just have to have that belief, that built-in belief. And that's when that kind of goes back to like rewiring the subconscious mind.
Yeah,
So like, and like, I'll give you two more examples and then I'll answer the question about the now.
I love it.
Um,
Yeah,
my car was stolen out of my driveway last year. And I was like, oh my God, like what kind of crummy luck is that? Like, how did I manifest? Like, how did I manifest that? Like, are you
right,
kidding
right.
me? And I actually know how I manifested that because I had the thought of that happening. And remember, your thoughts are powerful. So be careful what you assign energy to. But it happened nonetheless. Instead of being like, oh, poor me, instead of complaining, you just, again, being present, taking your power back in the now moment, not residing in those low vibrational emotions of fear or lack or worry or stress, and just flipping it around and staying positive. Like, you know what? I don't know how this is serving me, but this is going to turn out better than I anticipated. And
Yes,
sure enough, it all worked out. I made the police report, I made the insurance claim. I was able to, not only was I able to get a brand new car with less miles and a year newer, but I was also able to get the insurance, the homeowner's insurance company cut me a check for all of the tack that was in my car, the horse equipment that went missing when the car was stolen. So that was like a huge blessing. And then just last 2 months ago, I have an Airbnb, and apparently a crackhead moved in to the Airbnb and destroyed the property and caused thousands of dollars worth of damage. And I was like, oh my God, like again, like how is this happening? Like
yes,
what you put out is what you get. Like I put out good energy. Like why, like, you can make the argument like, poor me, why me? But then it's
sure.
like, no, don't stop. Don't get that out of your head and just know,
Yeah,
don't worry about it. Don't stress about it. Don't give negative energy to it because what
mhm.
you feed is what grows. And so
Yes,
so long story short, I took some pictures, made the report with Airbnb. They ended up again sending me cutting me a check for $6,000. So not only was all of the damage paid for, but the entire house got remodeled with
wow.
yeah, with new furniture, with all brand new everything. So I was like, wow, that ended up working out even better than I planned. Like, thank you, God, for the crackhead,
Yeah.
so it's all about, so I give you, I give you those examples to kind of say like, no, like good things don't always happen to me. I'm not just this like invincible ray of sunshine, but like when bad things do happen,
Yeah,
being present and using your like in the now moment,
mhm.
that's where our power is. So whenever something happens to us, we have the decision to decide, it's up to us how do I want to respond? How do I want to show up? Do I want, like, because again, whatever you put out is exactly what you're going to attract. So if you're putting out energy of worry, of fear, of stress, of anger, of hate, whatever it is, you're just going to attract more of that. So and again, bad things happen. So it's okay. You're human to
Yeah.
allow yourselves to feel those feelings, but how long are you going to allow yourself to stay in those feelings? Right.
Right.
Like, do
Yeah.
you want to be miserable for like,
A lot of times people are stuck. That's their normal, being miserable.
and
And that's why change for some people, it actually hurts. It hurts to change.
even,
And
yes,
so,
even when the
yeah,
change is like, even when they're stuck
even
being
when the
miserable
change
and
is
angry,
good, it still hurts them.
yeah, because it challenges their identity because they
Exactly.
believe
Because they
this
have identified with their pain and they have attached to it.
a
And they
thousand
have made
percent.
that story their belief system because that's
Eh,
what they've been thinking continuously, continuously, and continuously.
Yeah, and if they let go of that story, then who are they?
And how do they
Well,
let go of that story rather other than making a new story for themselves?
yeah, that's, I mean, that's
And
really,
that's what I had to do, Lucy. In order for me to become well, I had to actually change my semantics. And I tell this story over and over. I had to stop telling people that I was on a healing journey. And I say this time in and time out because if I'm constantly telling someone, hey, I'm on a healing journey, I'm always going to be healing. What about on a wellness journey? If I'm on a wellness journey, then I'm well. I had to completely change my semantics, really dissect some of the words that I was saying because cumulatively, even if words are not being dissected and this word right here doesn't really carry vibration, the actual feeling carries a vibration. And you have and that sentence itself, if you change the sentence, eventually you'll change the feeling of that sentence and it'll start changing your aura. And when you start changing your aura, that's when you start attracting the things that you want, the all your manifestations that you want in life, all the positive manifestation, because we're always manifesting, whether what the good things and the bad things. And that's the thing that people need to understand too, that you're gonna get what you put out, whether it's good or bad, you're gonna get it.
1,000%. I
I
totally
wanted
agree.
to challenge you with something. So only because I've been going through this challenge. And so I'm putting myself out there and I'm gonna question you about something that you were talking about your car earlier, about how you had thought about, I guess, that perhaps maybe it would be stolen one day, correct?
Yeah.
How do you know the difference of whether or not you manifested that or whether it was your intuition telling you that this might happen?
That's a good question. Um, I think that they're two different things. I think that um there was an event that happened that put me in a that triggered fear within me where I was
Mhm.
like, "Oh my God," like I was full of fear. I was operating in fear,
Okay.
and because of those thoughts of fear, I don't know why, but I was like, "Oh my God, what if I lost my car? Like, what if I didn't have a vehicle?"
That makes
And
sense.
I emotionalized that, and because of that, next week my car was gone. And so, and so when we talk about like you said, the power of your words and like the power of your thoughts, it's like you really, like if you are unhappy or unsatisfied or unfulfilled with your life in any way, it's so important to take inventory of the thoughts that you're thinking because your
I love
life
it.
is the perfect projection of your thoughts.
Yeah.
So again, so that's why we have to really talk about radical responsibility and
Yeah.
taking total responsibility of every single thought that you think, every word that comes out of your mouth, every single emotion that you choose. Like if like my boyfriend, I love him to death. Sometimes like if I'm having a moment, he'll call me out and I'll be like, babe, I'm like, I don't know. I'll be like, babe, I'm really mad or I'm sad. And he's like, well, stop. And I'm like, what do you mean stop? He's like, well, stop. You're choosing to be mad. Just choose to be happy. And I'm like, and like he hits me with the stuff that I tell him.
Yeah.
So it's really hard for me. And I'm like, I know you're right, but I want to be mad right now. And he's like, well, why do you want to be mad? Do you think it feels better than being happy? And I'm like, no, you're right. But like, and it's called, oh my God, I forgot the name of it. It was like, I want to say it's like Othello's law or Othello's principle that like when we're really angry, will look for things to make us angry and validate our anger, because like it's almost
Yeah.
like we want to be like correct in our anger. And it's just like, let that all go, recognize that, become aware of that, become
Yeah.
conscious of that. Because guess what? Being angry doesn't serve you. What serves you is to let go of all of those like limiting beliefs and low vibrational emotions and just giving it all away. And there was a point to, so then you were talking about the intuition. So again, so radical responsibility, understanding that like every single thought, word, emotion, and reaction, also interpretation, everything that like
Right.
we have to we have to take responsibility for the things, our perception, our interpretation of things.
That's so true.
Sometimes people can like say something to us or text us something, and we can totally take it out of context, and then we can assign all of these meanings to it. And it's just
Right.
like, well, wait a second. Why? Like that's not how it was intended to be received. And now you're choosing to be offended because you just so happen to interpret it incorrectly. So I think there's radical responsibility. And really, once you embrace that radical responsibility, you truly understand that everything that happens to you, good, bad, ugly, and different, it's like you attracted that to you. And then I also think when we're talking about intuition, that the more you can tune in, tap in, plug in, like I
Yeah,
said,
and get tuned in, tapped in, and turned on.
yep. The more that you can really like spend time alone and quiet your mind, it's almost like it opens up a whole new world of spirituality. And it's like, if praying is talking to God, then meditation is listening to God. And I feel like those intuitive nudges, those little pieces of inspired action, like
Yeah.
I think that's what can make a world of difference between someone that's like relatively successful and somebody that's wildly abundantly successful in every single area of their life. It's because they understand that spiritual component. They have faith in themselves, faith in God. They trust the process. And it's like, even if there are obstacles, understanding that those obstacles were placed along my path for a reason. I had the world's worst boss in the whole world. I could say, oh, poor me, why me? But guess what? Looking back at that,
Yeah.
like, thank you, God, for giving me the worst boss in the world. So that way I could quit my corporate job and pursue my
Yeah.
dream.
Exactly. And also, when somebody falls in that victim mentality, there's a consciousness to it. It's a victim consciousness, it's a victim vibration. And it's easy to stay on that vibration when you're constantly feeling like a victim. And if you're constantly feeling like a victim, then you always will be. And so, but it's challenging though. It's challenging when people have gone through horrendous things in life and that keep them feeling that way, and they keep attracting these horrendous things to them, not even aware that they have the power in them to come out of that victim consciousness and into a more wellness, profound consciousness. Something going back to the feelings. So what I'm thinking here is our body tells us how to feel when it's trying to alarm us or alert us for something that needs attention. So, while I practice everything that you're saying almost verbatim, I've practiced this stuff on the daily and I love it and I get it. But I'm also aware, especially being in the field of psychology and just knowing that there's a lot of people with hardships and depression, schizophrenia, and all kinds of mental disorders and stuff. And a lot of the times, or even illnesses, ailments, if somebody's feeling a certain way, and let's just step aside. Actually, if we step aside from mental disorders, step aside from disability or anything like that, if something doesn't feel good, sometimes it's a message to you. It's like an inner satellite telling you this isn't for you. So sometimes we have to pay attention to that no good feeling, and rather than try to shun it off and bring in something positive, sometimes that not good feeling is serving as a message to get something across and give you a level of awareness, which ultimately at the very end is there's still a good reason for that bad feeling. But it's also important to address these bad feelings, because if we don't address certain bad feelings, we could potentially be causing harm to ourselves as well, because our body stores feelings in different parts of our body and can create disease. So a lot of the times something doesn't feel good. What doesn't feel good? Let's bring this into some attention. I'm feeling this here in my body, or I'm feeling like I'm getting butterflies in this situation. This doesn't feel right. Let me see why it doesn't feel right, or let me meditate, let me feel into it. And then when you start to feel into it and realize that that reason why it didn't feel good is because it's not in alignment with your energy, rather than giving it a bad or a good feeling, you just basically take the energy and say it's not in alignment with me. And when you're able to change your semantics, but realize that the feeling that you're having, that's not the best feeling, is because it's not your closest alignment to where you want to be, because your inner being knows exactly where you want to be and where you ought to be. And
Yeah.
so I
And
just
how to
wanted
get
to
you there.
yeah, I just want to clear that up, because I can imagine that if some people were to listen to this, or even my students, they would be like, "Hang on a minute," but we're aware that painful feelings can cause disease. It gets trapped in the body, so you have to do become aware of these painful feelings, and then also appreciate them and learn to let them go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. I totally agree with all of that. And I think
yeah,
that's really important. Like when you talk about disease, it's like dis-ease. It's a
yeah,
lack of ease. It's like trapped negative energy that had to go
exactly what it
somewhere,
is.
so it went there. So when you're able to breathe through it and cleanse your body and, rebalance your chakras and do energy healing. I mean, some of this stuff might sound super woo-woo, super out there,
Sure.
but I'm sure you've seen all sorts of just wild healings. And it's like, well, there's what other explanation could there be?
Right. And a lot of it, I mean, depending on where your energy is and where your life is and what your goals are. For example, I had this gentleman on my podcast that healed his hyper and hypothyroid. From the time he was a kid, he got on all these medications, and he started meditating, and he started realizing that he started to connect himself with his higher self. And in that higher self energy, he realized in his meditations that he wasn't being true to himself. So if you don't speak your truth, you're going to have disease. I'm not saying that's true for everyone 100% of the time, but most of the time, and it can happen this way, in
In
some
some way,
way or another,
right.
whether you'll get a
Maybe it
cold or
shows up as
strep throat.
obesity or something. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? You might not
exactly.
think
Yes,
that's a
it's
big
all trapped
deal.
energy.
Yeah.
It's all trapped energy. And when you start to see life and all the momentum and that has created something in your life as simply just energy, and not give it a good or a bad and just see it as equal, you're then able to see that all energy is love. And if all energy is love, whether it was hate or whether it was pain or whether it was joy or whether it was peace, it's all coming in to serve a purpose for you. And so, and all this purpose for you will come to make sense when you're finally on the other side of that agonizing feeling and realizing this needed to go into this effect, to this domino effect, in order for it to show itself this way.
Oh, I love that. That's perfect. I've never heard anybody say that before, that all energy is love energy, but I love the way you explain that, because something that I've always said that kind of resonates with that is that love is the fabric of the universe. And it goes right along with what you had said, that like sometimes things might not seem very loving when we're having to go through them. But when you're on the other side of it, then you're like, wow, I'm really glad that that happened, because I came out bigger, better, wiser, stronger because of that thing.
Exactly. And love is the fabric of the universe. We're all made of love. And it's not the high, what is the highest vibration on the energy scale? The energy frequency scale, I believe, is enlightenment. And then after enlightenment, I think there's joy and peace and love. So all those love and above, that is what created us. And so if what created us comes from love, nothing that which was created for us is anything other than love. So
Mm.
if it hurts and if it's painful and makes us angry, guess what? That's still love. Because at the end of the day, when we're out of this body and we pass away or we cross over, we're going to go back to love and realize, hey, that painful feeling was actually, there's a reason for it. And that was all enforced by the creator, which is all created by love. And so
Yes,
all emotions, whether good or bad, there's still a loving purpose for it.
I love that. That's so good.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Let's go back talking about how you teach people about quantum physics and the power of awareness, and how to intentionally rewire their subconscious for success. You help them raise their vibe, make more money, reprogram their subconscious mind, and you teach them that meditating will improve their finances, health, relationship, and time management. I would love to talk about how it can help someone improve finances and time management. I feel that this is something that a lot of people are going through on the daily. I'll give an example. When I hear the time management part, because this is how meditation has helped me. And you can come in at any time and let me know how it's helped you, or how you help your clients with anything that we just that I just listed here. But for me, for example, I love to start my day every morning and map out my day. And in mapping out my day, I mean, I start off with gratitude, being thankful for my bed, for my sheets, and then from there it goes on to like, wow, there's a manufacturer that made my bed and my sheets. Somebody made this. Someone made this building. Like, holy moly, there's plumbing in this. My goodness, like it just goes. I go on this like rampage of gratitude, and then I get up with an attitude of gratitude. But in that attitude of gratitude, I say, okay, I'm feeling grateful now. What is my day going to be like? Because I've got this to do, this, and this. My heart rate's going up. Holy moly, how am I going to get all this done today? Okay, hold, take a deep breath. So I take a deep breath, and then I have a vision on my head of the things that I want to do, really quick snippets of things that I want to do throughout the day, and then slowly through messages. And I say messages because I'm receiving at this point, and I'm not pushing for the thought. And that's how people can identify whether they're receiving versus intentionally thinking. There's a push when you intentionally think, and when you receive, it just comes through relaxed flow without you having to push for a thought. And so when I'm receiving these messages, it starts showing me, okay, between 9 and 10 a.m., you'll make breakfast, and then you'll do a chakra meditation for 15, 20 minutes, and then you'll get ready, and then you'll be in traffic for an hour and a half. And then, so then I'm like, okay, okay, okay. And then I'll go and I'll write it down and I see my day. And usually by the end of the day, I've accomplished everything on my list, if not more, and
Yeah.
at peace. And if times I wasn't able to accomplish those things, they just weren't meant to be accomplished that day. So, I mean, how do you help people with their time management skills and meditating?
Okay. I love that you just shared that because I do something super similar. So at the end of each day, I have a gratitude practice that I've been doing for like, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 years now, where every single night before I go to sleep, I write out every single thing I'm grateful for that day. Sometimes they're big, sometimes they're small, but it's usually like grateful for waking up and meditating, grateful for cold showers and hot oatmeal,
Yeah.
grateful for whatever it is, like grateful for an amazing training with Mickey where he tried to kill me, but we laughed and had so much fun. Grateful for, and like it can be like the small stuff, like, oh, I'm grateful that I remember I wrote yesterday, I was writing, we just flew back home from South Padre Island. I wrote like grateful that me and Jason got to make out on the elevator going up to security, like just random. So like
Yeah,
there's
well, it's fun and it's bringing you joy and excitement.
for sure. And then it's just like it really puts things into perspective. Like there's so much to be grateful for. And then I stack gratitude with intention and I do tomorrow's forecast. And then I list out every single thing that I'd like to experience, attract, or create in the next day, very much like what you do. And so then I'll usually write like, okay, wake up, meditate, and then whatever it is, like, so for example, today I was like, wake up, meditate, then I had to my horse, I have a horse supplier and he brings me horses all over the Midwest. I was like, okay, meet with Jay. Okay, go train with Mickey. And then I was like, podcast at 2 o'clock, podcast at 5 o'clock, book flights for next month. And so, anyways, I put all of this stuff in here. And then it is so wild because sometimes I'll throw like a random thing in there. Like I might put like unexpected abundance and then poof,
I love it.
all of a sudden, like somehow like unexpected abundance will show up. Or I'll put like horse sale question mark. Like maybe like wouldn't it be nice if I just so happened to sell a horse? And I'm not even kidding you. Like like on the days that I put that, um uh a shopper, an out-of-state shopper will call me and they'll be like, oh, I saw a horse listed. Can you send me a video? I send them a video and boom, they wire a deposit to me. And so it's just like these like synchronicities that it's just like after so many coincidences, like it's not a coincidence anymore. Ask and it is given. Set your
Yes.
intentions. Like what is it that you want to create? And so many people not only do they not practice gratitude, they also don't practice intention setting. They're not living life intentionally to where they're like, what do I want to create tomorrow? What do I want to experience? And a lot of times, like, and sometimes when I'm being like real, like, let's say I have a crazy busy day, I'll put times and I'll be whatever it is from 10 to 11, I'm doing this, from 11 to 12, I'm doing this. And And then you can also do, if I know I'm having a super busy day, the next morning I'll wake up and I have a whole arsenal of different meditations. And I like to talk about meditations as like a smorgasbord or like a buffet. And like there's a bunch of different kinds. It's not like one size fits all. You can have different
Oh
meditations for
yeah.
different things. And one of them is a productive day meditation, where it talks about like how I move through my day with ease and flow, and that like divine timing's on my side and everything unfolds in absolute perfect timing today. My expectations are surpassed. Everything that crosses my path delights and surprises me. All of these. So, and anyways, you do all of these little practices that I'm talking about, the gratitude, the intention setting, the morning meditation. It's like, these are the systems and processes that are setting you up for success in your
Yes.
life, in your business, in your relationships, in your finance, in your health.
Yeah.
When you say like, I'm going to go to like, I'll say like, for example, like gym run, like, so yesterday it was yesterday we flew back from, South Padre, like I said, and I wanted to I had this extraordinary morning planned where I'm like, I want to wake up, I want to meditate, I want to go lift, I want to run on the beach, I want to swim on the ocean, and then I want to pack, take a shower, and then get an Uber to the airport, and we have to leave the airport by 10 a.m. Like, how am I going to do all of that before, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but sure enough, guess what? It was so beautiful because since I wrote it all out the night before, I had it all set up in my mind. And I was like, I wake up at 7, I meditate until 7:30. I get to the gym and I lift from 7:30 to 8:30. I run on the beach from 8:30 to 9, and I get to swim in the ocean from 9 until 9:30. I'm going to have all of my stuff packed tonight. So that way all I have to do is call the taxi, jump in the shower, put my clothes on, and guess what? The taxi showed up at 10:05, and we were at the airport by 11. It was absolutely perfect. But it's just like when you live intentionally and you set
Yeah.
those intentions, it's just like God's got your back. You know, He's rooting for you. He's
Oh yeah.
supporting you. He's walking with you each step of the way.
Yeah.
And it, again, like, your life is nothing more than a perfect portrayal of your belief system. So if you have, so many of us have limiting beliefs or beliefs that don't serve us, that
Right.
life is unfair, good things just, or bad things happen to good people, or money's hard to come by, or like I can never seem to get ahead, or the bills just won't stop. And it's just like, they don't mean to have, like, they don't even know they have these beliefs. But when you
They
dig deep
don't.
and you
Right.
find them, then you're like, like, why are you thinking that? Why are you claiming that? To your point, why are you fighting for your limitations? Because when you
Yeah.
fight for your limitations, you get to keep them.
You fight for
So,
your limitations, you're gonna get more limitations because that's what
yeah,
you're fighting for.
yeah. So
So how
those
do you
are,
help people uncover some of these false beliefs that they have?
it's
For
really how,
example, in the topic here of how meditation will improve your finances, how do you get them to understand? Do you even get your clients to understand where they're at, their false beliefs about finances, or do you just go straight into rewiring their brain?
um, first is I like to just ask them the right questions. Like, where are you at? Where are you at currently? Like, get like vulnerable and very honest, because like honesty is like the first step to awareness. And then where do you want to be? Like, what's the desired outcome? Like, a lot of times when you ask people like, well, what is it that you want? What's your vision? People will start listing off like every single thing that they don't want. And it's like, well, where
Yeah.
your focus goes, your energy flows. And I don't know how you're expecting to manifest a life of your dreams when you're stuck thinking about every single
What you
thing that
don't
you
want.
don't want.
Yeah.
Exactly. Um, and then it's really comes down to like, okay, well, what has stopped you? What has prevented you from getting to where you want to be? And that's when you start like digging deep and uncovering, well, my husband this, or my kids that, or I don't have enough free time, or and you start to listen to people. And then once you start to listen to people, you start to hear the words that they're using, and that'll really give you an insight to their belief system. And it's just asking the right questions and being like, and then getting down to the beliefs, like the hardwired beliefs. And it's
Yes.
like those beliefs are hardwired into our minds with these neural pathways. It's like hundreds of thousands of that of times that same thought has been thought.
Oh yeah.
And so rewiring that, to your point, isn't, something that happens in the blink of an eye.
Right.
So we have to be very intentional about it.
Yeah, imagine how many years it took for someone's belief to become that reality. Well, then it's going to take practice thinking a
Yeah.
certain way for that new belief to become your new reality.
Yeah, and then to your point, it's almost like you can't just say like, "Oh, I'm a millionaire. Oh, I'm a millionaire. Oh, I'm a millionaire. I'm going to say I'm a millionaire 100 times and poof, it's going to magically appear." Like that's not quite how it works either. But since you listen to Abraham and you're familiar with their things, you can say things that resonate at a higher vibration that will serve you, that aren't as heavy as like, "Oh, well, money's hard to make." You can, start to lighten it up and be like, and maybe just like use your creative faculty in the sense of like, um everything that I've ever needed, like all of my needs have been met up until this point. Um, I've always like all of my, like my needs have been provided for thus far. I know that I'm capable, strong, and resourceful. I know that
Yes.
when I set my mind to something, I can absolutely achieve it. And so when you start to say things that you do believe are true, you can start to work your way up and then kind of build on that belief. And then it's about stacking those affirmations. And those are like the building blocks to rewiring your mind. It's practice takes perfect. You have to do it every single
It
day.
does. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. And also getting into the feeling of that, getting the momentous feeling of what it would feel like to $15 million. Okay, well, I'd like to have $15 million in my account right now. What would that feel like? It would feel free, it would feel flexible, it would feel joyful, it would feel vibrant, it would feel exciting, it would feel abundant. And so
Yeah.
when you get on that vibration of feeling free and feeling glee and feeling that emotional and anticipation, that excitement, and doing whatever it takes in your life to take you there, whether it's karaoke singing, whether it's hanging out, whether it's horseback riding, whether it's traveling to California, whether it's going somewhere or going for a walk, taking a nap, whatever it's going to do for you just to get back on this vibration, so that to get you out of the vibration or out of the channel that has you stuck of thinking that you're not enough, and going with the feeling where there is enough. The feeling where there is enough is when you're laughing and you're having a good time, or even when you're peaceful and just enjoying the moment. That's the
Yeah.
enough feeling. So if you stay at that enough feeling, that's when you're going to get more than enough, because you've been at more than enough for a while.
Yes, exactly.
It's really beautiful the way the universe is. And the universe wants to give you what you want. It doesn't want to give you what you don't want. It's going to give you what you don't want if that's what you're putting out there, but it doesn't know all the gibberish.
It
It's only
doesn't it doesn't know the
it doesn't
difference.
know. It
It
doesn't
just
know the
gives you
difference.
whatever you focus on. So if you want to focus on the bad, and so my favorite is when people will say like, "Can this day get any worse?" Like,
Well,
"Oh, that's like."
sure. Oh my goodness, take that back.
Yeah,
Yes,
like
it can.
like the universe is like, "Sure, do you want to see how it can get worse?" And
Right. Yeah,
like,
exactly.
so again, like people are operating at an unconscious level where they don't realize the power of their words. So when they say things like, "Could this day possibly get any better?" Well, sure it could. Do you really want to find out? As opposed to like, and it's almost like, okay, now, have you listened to Bashar yet?
I love Bashar. Yeah, all the time.
Okay, so cool. Okay, so
Love Bashar.
um, I have recently, I'd say like this year has been like my like year of Bashar, where I've like really stumbled upon his, like I love everything he talks about.
Oh, me
And
too.
what's so cool is like he does such an incredible job of explaining the fact that like there are an infinite number of like parallel realities. They're all simultaneously occurring. And it's up to us to decide how we want to show up at what vibration we want to reside at. And that is going to be the reality that we're experiencing. So, again, your power is in the now. So, if you choose to respond with love and compassion, you're going to experience a reality that's full of love and compassion. Versus if you choose
Absolutely.
to respond with hate and animosity, well, that's going to be a much lower vibrational playing field. And so, there was a whole point to this, and I don't remember
Yeah,
what it was.
Bashar.
But no, but I brought him up based on what you had said, and I can't remember. But I guess just for people to really understand that like reality is so malleable. Oh, I remember that like when people say, "Oh, can today get any worse?" versus "Can today get any better?" That like when you stop and you draw a line and you're like, "Okay, like today has been a difficult day, and
Yeah.
today I have been faced with some things that were less than ideal, but moving forward from this point on, everything that crosses my path is going to satisfy and delight me." Just making that affirmation, deciding in that moment,
Yeah.
it's like you automatically, I don't know what you want to call it, like hop timelines or step into a different
Sure.
dimension. And it sounds kind of woohoo, I know, but when you do this, when you just like, when you try this because you're curious to see if it actually works, and then you're like, oh my God, this actually worked.
It
Then you
does.
like try it again, and then you try it again, and then you're like, oh my God, this stuff, this woohoo stuff that they're talking about, it actually works. Um, but it's just all about deciding like from this moment, I'm going to experience peace and joy and love and laughter. From this moment, today is only going to get better and better and better. Why? Because I decided and I show like and that's the only reason why.
Exactly. And people can have fun with the universe and what they create. Like something I told myself maybe about 15 years ago, because living in LA, trying to find traffic sometimes is a pain in the ass. And I remember one day just saying to myself, you know what? I will always find parking. And to this day, I always find parking. So it's been like 15 years since I changed that thought. And I have no doubt. Sometimes I'll be with people and be like, man, there's no parking. I'm like, don't worry, I'm here. And my thoughts are saying that we'll always find parking. And next thing I know, there's a parking spot. I mean, there's always parking. And you can do that like if you feel it and you believe in what you're saying, like you wholeheartedly believe, it's going to happen every single time with an unwavering faith, and that is where it all starts to manifest, have it and show itself. I'm gonna change the word manifest to show itself. It'll present itself, because the path is already there. The path will become clear when you have this unwavering faith and you go with it, and that belief, that unwavering faith, will start to show itself on the path that it's already that's set in front of you. You're lighting up the path, you're just getting brighter and brighter, and your light is shining your current path that you have, and things are moving out of the way, and things just start clearing out of the way. And you know what? Also, something that I've learned, that when you are having a bad day, sometimes this bad day, all it is a redirection to somewhere else, or something where you're supposed to be, or where you want to be more, or things that you have set yourself for. Sometimes a bad day ends up being a good reason for the bad day. So, what I would like to tell people, if you're having a bad day, allow that bad day to be. Go home, relax, read a book, take a bath, go for a walk, whatever you need to do to just be like, I had a bad day, and that's okay. It's okay that I had a bad day. All I know is that it's a redirection, and it allowed me to relax the rest of the day.
I love that. Absolutely.
So I'd love to read a poem that I wrote
I
that
would
I wrote
love
for
you
you.
to read a poem. That sounds amazing.
Awesome, Lucy. Well, thank you so much for your time. This has been really amazing connecting with you on this vibration. And I have to tell you, in the middle of the recording, we were talking about high vibration. The video was starting to like pause at certain moments. I'm like, oh, I knew that was gonna happen. I love it when I talk high vibes like this. It starts to interrupt with the bandwidth. It's really incredible.
That's
We're vibing too high for this bandwidth.
it's like a
It's
common
trying to catch
theme
up.
that I've heard with podcasters that understand this. It's funny.
Yeah, it's amazing. Okay, Lucy. 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 It took glancing into bold, profound eyes, bold equestrian eyes, to ride through the wind and feel that I too am majestic. How can I conquer my life and stand as tall and glorious as a horse, and not just on a saddle? I learned to cultivate abundance with all energies that exist. I molded into it like clay, and in that clay, I sculpted a life worth aiming for. And now, with my heart in glee, I cultivate this life lesson for you and not just me. And that's it. And that's thanks to your energy, thanks to your vibration that came out of me.
That
Appreciate
is
it.
beautiful. Thank you so much for writing that. That's
Oh, you're
incredible.
welcome.
You gotta
It's
send
my
that to
pleasure.
me.
I will. I'll send it to you right after this. No problem. I love it.
That
So,
would be
Lucy, this has been really amazing. Thanks again for connecting with the Little Less Fear podcast. And all of these incredible listeners are going to have some incredible golden nuggets thanks to our energy here, and thanks to your wisdom and your grace, good attitude, gratitude, attitude. Keep bringing it on. Where can our viewers, our watchers, and our listeners get a hold of you if they need to get a hold of you?
Well, there's two different things. The first thing is every Friday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern or 7:30 a.m. Pacific,
Yeah.
I do a live gratitude meditation. So
What?
yeah, I like ask myself like, how can I serve? How can I give back? How can I positively impact the world?
I love
And
it.
meditation is my non-negotiable. I do it every single day, and I'm like, I want to share this. So in wanting to share this gift, we created a Facebook group. It's called Transformation Nation. And if you go to like facebook.com/Lucie's bubble, because you want to fiercely protect your bubble. I made that a long time ago. Then you go to Lucie's bubble and you can see like the links or when I mentioned Transformation Nation. And just it's a free group. And if you are thinking about meditating, if you're not sure where to go, where to start, how to do it, you think you're doing it wrong, you say you can't quiet your mind, don't worry, I got you. This is like a high vibrational healing, gratitude, just like a rampage of appreciation. It's gonna rock your socks. You're gonna love it every Friday. And we leave the recording. So if 7:30 is too early for you in Cali, whenever you wake up, just go to the page and you can tune in. There's that. And then the other thing that we have is we actually have a free giveaway for you and your listeners. So
Really?
yeah, we have so me and my
I'm all
partner,
really.
really, we put together a 16-week course on how to intentionally rewire your subconscious mind, transform your identity, and start making and start taking massive action towards your goals. And what we've done is we've condensed this 16-week course into a digestible 6-part series. It's about 2 hours long. And normally this retails for $1,000 on the website, but we have a promo code for you guys. And it's fear. So for the podcast, a little less
Oh,
fear.
love it.
Type in, so you go to ultimatesuccessblueprint.com. That's the
Okay.
website. Click on the training and then type in promo code fear, and you will be able to download and access that. We'll shoot it right to your email. And you can check out different strategies and techniques on how to start very intentionally rewiring your subconscious mind.
ultimatesuccessblueprint.com, and the promo is fear.
You
This
got
has
it.
been Lucie Ptasznik, and she's got live gratitude meditation, Transformation Nation on Facebook.com, Lucia's Bubble. This has
Yeah,
been really incredible.
Lucies.
Lucie,
Yep, Lucies, Lucy's, and then bubble.
Lucies, and Bubble. Lucie, thank you so much for sharing your incredible life. I mean, this has been really magical, and I really appreciate you, and I look forward to keeping in touch with you. Thank you so much. Yes, right back at you.